All right, welcome back everyone. Hope you are all doing well. We are gonna be continuing the latest multiplayer combat tutorial series or RPG series or whatever you want to call it. Nothing much to say, so let's just jump right into it. This is what we have today. We have our weapon system that we're gonna continue working on. We have this axe, and we have this shield, and we have this sword. We press Q, we get our sword and shield equipped, and we press Q again, and we get our axe equipped. And then we can unarm again. So basically what we have here is an equipment system. And what we want to do now is we want to add some different type of movesets basically, because right now this is looking a bit weird. You don't run around with a great axe like this. Also, I can't attack with this one yet, so we're gonna add different attacks for this one. So yeah, that's basically what we're gonna do today. So for starters, let's see what we have. If we go into our enums and struct folders, we have a weapon stance, right? Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways to do this, depending on how in depth you want to go. What you could do is you could go into each specific weapon, so that you could do like this specific axe has this moveset and another axe has another moveset, or you could just do different movesets for the weapon type. So axes moves like this, and swords moves like this. For instance, I'm gonna do the later one just to keep it easy, since it is a tutorial, but I'll try to explain, or actually maybe I should just... Okay, I'm gonna do the advanced one just to show you how I would do it, but then I will probably go with the easier one for this specific project anyway. But so if we're gonna do it, so we're gonna start by doing it per weapon basis. So to do that, first we have our weapon details here, right? So if we open that up, we have a different we have some information of our weapon. So basically we want to add information to this weapon about how we are gonna move as well. So then we need another blueprint structure. So blueprint structure, we can call this S weapon. We have attacks, right? Yeah, we already have attacks, but let's do movement. We can probably rename attacks, maybe. No, that attack details. Let's just see. We have attack combo details as well. Yeah, okay. So we should probably rename this one. We're gonna rename the combo details to S move set details, because in this one we want to have, so here we have our different attacks. So that's a part, the different attacks are part of the moveset basically. So this weapon attacks in this way, this weapon attacks in this way. And we also want to add this weapon moves in this way, or this weapon idles in this way. So let's just add another one and make it a blend space. Not a 1D, a usual one. So let's call this blend space. So now we have that added. So we have a reference to a blend space in our weapon as well. Go into your master weapon and just compile it. So let the change get changed. You need to compile everywhere that you actually have your weapon or the variable. Perfect. So that's the first part. The second part is to actually get some animations, and I think we probably have some on Quang. Maybe he has a big huge two-handed weapon, so let's search for idle. Give me 1 second, I will pause and I will find some animations. Alright, perfect. What I did was I went into Quang basically and just got some animations from him. It's one of the epic characters that we imported in one of the earlier episodes. So we have these two-handed attacks, which is the moveset for these two-handed attacks. We're also gonna get a different idle animation for the two-handed. We're also actually gonna get different idle animation for everything. So basically we have this unarmed blend space. So we're just gonna set up the different animation states or animation blueprints or blend spaces. So unarmed here, right? So let's do a new folder called sword. And I'm gonna go into attacks. Actually, let's not care about that for now. I'm gonna copy this player unarmed, go into sword, paste it, and I'm gonna name it player sword. Perfect. So in this player sword we have this blend space. But I think it looks a little bit weird with these. If we equip the sword, you can see that firstly the sword goes through the shield and he looks a little bit too relaxed. So I think maybe actually there should be an idle animation from probably from Greystone or something actually that suits this. Isn't this one better for sword shield? Let's go with this one for Greystone, or for the sword shield. So just right click, retarget, duplicate anim asset and retarget, or just do it the way we did in another video. So show only compatible skeletons. I'm gonna untick that one, gonna go to player, find my character, and I'm gonna also change the folder. So animations, game, player, and we are not in attacks. We have the sword folder that we just made. So I'm gonna retarget it there. I'm gonna call it, actually let's just retarget it. And we can call it sword idle. Oops. Sword idle. So perfect. And then we delete, we go into the sword blend space, and you can see that this idle position is now different. But I think for the sword, the rest of the blend space can look kind of the same because we're gonna run in the same way anyway. So let's just leave it at that. And for the axe, we are gonna do the same thing. We're gonna copy, and we're just gonna copy the idle animation in here as well. Gonna rename this blend space, is gonna be called axe because this is the axe blend space. And axe idle. Make sure that you name everything the same. Sword idle. Yeah, I'm just gonna, it's fine to just call it axe idle. Keep it short and simple. And in here we are gonna delete this one and we are gonna replace it with our sword idle. So we, or axe idle, I mean. So let's just modify this axe idle animation a little bit. I could probably go in and find it. There's probably a epic character with two-handed weapons that has a decent idle animation that you should probably use, but I'm just gonna do like this because I don't want to scroll through all of them. So I'm just gonna modify this animation a little bit. I'm gonna reach the upper arm. I've probably shown this in another video, but just a quick explanation. If you already have animations, you can modify them for easy stuff. Movement animations and things like that are pretty hard to modify, to be honest, but for idle animations and things, it's pretty simple. So I'm just gonna swap out the arm and swap this up like this and grab the hand, and already there it looks like we have a pretty decent animation, idle animation for a two-handed axe, right? So, and then if you are happy, just press key and apply. And as you can see now, we have this animation here. Perfect. So this is the idle one. I am gonna do a different thing actually. Okay, let's keep it like this for now. So we have our axe. So now we can go into our weapons. If we open our axe and go into the weapon details, and we have our, what did we call it? Mesh details, attack combo details. Okay, yeah. Attack combo detail is still called attack combo details though. Didn't we change it? Yeah, okay. Go into your prefabs. Where do we store it? Prefabs, weapons, enums and structs. Moves. We called it moveset details, but in this weapon details, we still had to change the name here. Moveset details. Perfect. Compile everything. So in the axe we now have moveset details, and we're gonna use axe here, BS player axe. So this is the axe blend space, and if you remember, we have the Quang attacks here. So I'm just gonna do 2, and we need to enable root motion on all of these. Enable root motion, perfect. And I don't remember what way did we do for the attacks that we use for our sword. Did we modify the root motion, or did we move the character by code? I'm just gonna check. So here in the sword moveset, we're gonna do sword. Let me just check if I don't remember if it's the animation that is. Can take action. I guess it's the animation, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we modify the root motion in the attack axe, so let's do it for the axe as well. Quang. So this is the first attack. I think I'm gonna use A and D because they are the ones that I think looks most nice. So, but no, actually no. I don't like this one though. Okay, it's decent. Let's do this. So let's do C and D. That's what I'm gonna do. So root motion is enabled, perfect. Go into your skeleton, select the root bone. We already did this, but I'm gonna do it again. The root motion, start by adding a keyframe, then somewhere around here maybe the attack sliding will start, so add another keyframe, and then from here the character until here. So when we reach this point, the character will have slided forward a little bit. So add another keyframe, and let's see how that looks. That looks all right. And let's do the same for the D. Select the root bone, keyframe, apply, keyframe, apply, and when we reach this point, the character will have slided. Something like that. Perfect. So let's create anime montage, create anime montage, and these are gonna go into the sword attacks, or the axe attacks, I'm sorry. Axe attacks here, and the sword attack we already have. So let's just see if it's working with the axe attacks. That's working fine. Looking all right. I mean, it's not the best animations, even though it's Paragon, but I think it's decent. But I would like the slice to be a little bit more on the first one. Oh yeah, it's fine. I feel like there's no power in them though. It's like weird. Yeah, I guess it's free, so probably shouldn't complain too much. We're gonna add some VFX later and stuff like that. So okay, so we have the attacks. Let's do the movesets now. Right, so basically what we want to do is we want to add, how do we do this? Basically what we do is, if you go into your animation, or whatever it's called, animation blueprint, and you go into your animation graph and down into your idle run. This is the blend space that we are using for moving around. So what we want to do is we want to grab a reference to this one, or make it a variable, so that we can change the way that we move when we have different weapons equipped. So to do that, you go here and you see the blend space is this blend space. You expose it as a pin instead. Bam. And now you can promote this one to a variable. And you can see, so now we have a blend space here. So we're always gonna move in the way this blend space once dictates. So unarmed. So we're just gonna do, the default is gonna be this blend space unarmed. Yep. BS player unarmed. That's the default one. But if we go to our combat maybe, or wherever we are equipping functions, this is the equip weapon. Damn, that's a lot of code. Spaghetti. This looks so messy. I'm gonna clean this up later. So what we want to do here is we also want to set the blend space that we are using. So and that's easy. Just grab the two-hand details, I guess. We have this moveset details. Break the moveset details. And we have this on all of them. Okay, so two-handed, unarmed. Why am I using the... Okay, so here I'm setting everything to... Okay, I see. Sorry, not this one. Okay, let's do them one by one. So this is the one-handed one. Okay, so then we go from the main hand details. And we have it here. Moveset. We break the moveset details. And here we have the blend space. And as you can see, to change the variable on the current blend space that we're actually using, we need a reference to the to the animation blueprint here, and we don't have that. So let's go to our begin play, which is probably at the event graph, right? Here is our begin play. We need to get anim instance. So from our mesh, we get anim instance, and we cast to player third person animation blueprint. Right, and let's promote this to a variable. Call it anim bp. Animation blueprint reference. Perfect. That means that we can change it. So is this running on, let's see, is this, so this is a multicast already. So when we call the function, we press Q, we equip the weapon. We do a server function that calls a multicast, so this is a multicast. So all this is happening on all of the clients and on the server. So that means that we are free to, since it's everything here is already happening on the server, it's fine if we set it here. So that means we can get a reference to this one, and we can set anim or what did we call it? Blend space, sorry. Set blend space. So we can set the blend space, which is the variable that we created here, blend space. We want to set it to the current weapon that we are using. Actually, we can remove the print strings here. Bam. And we want to set the blend space here as well. And this time we are setting it to the two-handed blend space. And do we have unarmed details? And here we have our unarmed details. And we want to set the okay, yeah, I'm confusing myself with my own code here, I'm sorry. This should be fine though. Main hand. Is it though? I don't understand what I've done. This is the problem when you do like the videos like 1 or 2 weeks in between. So why do I set it to one-handed here if it's unarmed? It's because it starts at unarmed. It's gonna go here. It's gonna go to one-handed. So from unarmed we're going to one-handed. From one-handed we're going to two-handed. From two-handed we're going to unarmed. So it is correct. Okay, perfect. Yeah, sometimes I do errors as well. When I say sometimes, I mean all the time. So if if I'm not doing things in an optimal way. That's if you feel that I'm not doing things in an optimal way, that's probably absolutely true. I'm actually not an expert in this anyway, just because I make tutorials. I mostly do these videos for my own gain. Actually, I learn a shit ton of stuff when I do this. So, but if some of you find something useful, I'm just gonna be very happy about that. Okay, let's see if this works. I'm still a bit confused about what I've done myself, so let's see. Let's see where we get, where we end up. So we are unarmed. As you can see, it is kind of working. We have the sword shield idle animation. It looks a little bit better, and we equip. Look at that. We equip our axe. This character is problematic. I switched to this character, but it's such a specific character that looks... It's not really a standard body shape, so it doesn't really represent the epic skeleton, so it's always weird with the animations. So I'm gonna have to modify this a little bit. But mostly what I want to do now is 26 minutes. We're gonna wrap this episode up. I just wanna quickly, as you see, when we run with the sword, it's fine for now at least. We have this idle animation that looks better, and when we run, this is like, it's decent running. Maybe I could switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit actually, to be honest. So let's just modify the movement animations a little bit so it looks a little bit better. So animations, I really need more coffee, man. So, and we have our sword. If we start with, let's start with our axe, because that's gonna be the one who looks most differently. So we have this running animation, right? Actually, let's do this in a way simpler way. No, let's not. Let's not do it in a way simpler way. Run forward. We'll start by trying this and see how it looks. Run forward. We are gonna go into our axe. I'm just gonna see how well I can modify. Because here we have a problem with the modifying of animations, so we might actually need to blend the bones in the animation blueprint instead, because this idle animations, as I said, are fine because no other bones are pretty much moving, but the problem here is gonna be that there's gonna be a shit ton of other bones moving. So when I modify this animation, as you can see, the hand is moving a lot. It's still fine, I think. Actually, it is moving a lot. Let's see if we can find a pose that doesn't move as much. As you can see, it's moving a shit ton, and that's not really the way you would be running with a two-handed sword. So obviously there are multiple ways of doing this. You can go with whatever way you want to go with. As you can see, I could have just modify this running animation and do a completely separate blend space for all of the animations that we're actually using. Could actually do that. That's probably a good way to do it. And obviously, if you're like a serious studio and you have lots of resources, then you would just make your own animations that wouldn't really require you to modify them, and that would make it a lot easier, because then you would just have these really good running animations with access and whatever. But since we're sticking with a free tutorial, we can't do that. But we still want to make it look nice, right? Because this doesn't really look very nice. It's below my acceptable quality level with this, and I can't really modify it to look better if you see what I mean. So we're gonna do a workaround for now. So we're gonna go into our player details, and we are from this axe idle. What we are gonna do is I'm gonna grab this axe idle, and I'm gonna safety copy it, because I'm gonna start by deleting that one. Okay, I'm just gonna start by safety copy this, because that one turned out nice. But what we're gonna do here is we are gonna make this a pose animation. So I'm gonna remove frame 0. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm gonna remove everything from. I'm gonna make this a pose animation basically. So this is just one frame now. As you can see, it's a static animation. So already 31 minutes. We're getting later. We've returned to the long videos. Maximum 10 more minutes. And we're not. I'm just gonna try some stuff. Is this a good way of doing it? In the yeah, okay, yeah. 1 second, I'm gonna pause. All right, I am back. After some heavy thinking, I decided we're gonna go with the easy approach, which I don't want to call it the easy, I want to call it the right approach. This is a better way of doing it. We're just gonna do modifying, and I just spent a little while and I realized I can just modify a Quang animation probably, and it's gonna look alright when moving, because my other idea was to, okay, I'm always gonna use the unarmed run as the base pose of the running, and I'm just gonna do a static pose for the different weapon animations basically, and I'm just gonna blend them together in the animation blueprint. That would have worked out fine, I'm sure, but it's a bit unnecessary, I think, especially since nobody's no true, you would never see anyone working like that in. It's like it's a workaround for me as a small indie solo developer. I do that in my own personal projects, for instance, because I can't spend a shit ton of money on different animations and everything, and very specific animations. So for me it's easier to just make tiny modifications all the time, but this is probably the right way to actually do it instead. So if we go into our if we go back, I'm sorry, go back to Quang, we're gonna just take one of his animations. He's calling them jog. The idle animation was fine, we already saw that. And we have this forward jog, so we're just gonna retarget this one. And we're gonna try it because that one looks alright, and we're just gonna modify it. Fuck, I forgot to shows where to place it. And we're gonna go in there, move here. So in this player X, we're gonna delete this one, and we're gonna insert the copy that we made before. And on the jog forward here, we are gonna delete this one, and go with this one instead. So perfect, and we are gonna modify this one. Let's just make a safety copy, and let's see what we can do with this one. Let's see if we can find a good pose on. Oops. Maybe I don't need to record this, but I want you to see what you can actually do with modifying the animations. But this sometimes this takes a while, obviously, because there's lots of finicking. Oops, not the spine, I wanted the lower arm. And obviously you can spend as much time as you want with your own project on this. Basically it's all about like moving the tiny changes until you feel that you're happy. How does that look? It looks a bit weird. And it does look a bit weird. Ah, fuck it. I'm sorry. I can't deal with weird animations. This is not acceptable. So I'm just gonna go with the way that I originally planned to, because I can't make it look nice. We could just use this. Actually, this one is probably, we could probably modify it to look decent running like this, because this is how it's supposed to be. So we could probably do something like this. This is looking better. Maybe I should just go with this because it's a tutorial. Okay, I'm just gonna go with this because it's a tutorial. So it's fine. I probably shouldn't go for AAA quality on a tutorial. Okay, this is actually acceptable, I think. So let's go with this one. Let's keyframe it, apply everything, the axe, and we have it here. Perfect. So let's see if that works. We have our axe. And as I said before, this is a bit of a weird character, so it's a bit harder to actually make it look good because it doesn't really represent the way you want it to actually look. So I probably shouldn't have gone with that character. I'm probably gonna change that in the... This one is a bit weird because, as you can see, it doesn't represent. It's not at all how the animation looks in the when we look at the skeleton preview. So, but yeah, this is fine for now. In the other video, because we're already at 38 minutes, so I think I'm gonna need to wrap it up. I'm probably gonna polish this between videos, but this is the way I'm gonna do it, at least, just so you know. So you can obviously finish with your own animations to make it look nicer. What I don't like is the fact that we are having this idle animation and this running animation. It doesn't quite make sense. So, but I'm gonna keep it like this for now, and actually, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna see if I can quickly fix it up. So we're gonna spend a few more videos, because otherwise I would start the next video with fixing stuff, and I wanna wrap it up before I fix it. So 1 second. And bam, I am back. I just quickly swapped out the character to an actual human character because it represents the mannequin a lot better. This one is also free, if you just go into your Epic browser and then permanently free content, this one is there available as well. So let's see. Oops, there we go. There you go. Now it's actually looking like skeleton. It's looking a lot better, but it's still very jittery because the idle animation is with the axe on our back, and the running animation is down here. So when you do, he's always gonna try to put it back on his back. So I actually want to try to fix that anyway. I know it's already 40 minutes, so I'm sorry for creating these super long videos, but something always pops up, and then something else pops up, and then something else pops up. So I'm actually gonna do a different approach here, or this one is fine so far, so you could just stop here if you want to, but I'm gonna continue and show another way of actually adding a little bit more customization into it, especially for people who don't have a shitload of money and can make their own animations. So it's just a way to make it actually look a little bit nicer. So for that, we are actually going to use the static animation that I had before. So if we go to our prefabs, and we go into, or where is it? And we go to our moveset details. We're actually going to add another thing here, and it's going to be blend pose animation, and this one is not going to be a blend space. It's going to be a animation sequence. Or actually, no, you know what? We can keep it like this. It's fine. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go into our player third person character, and we're going to go into our idle run. And what we're going to do here is basically we are going to so the idle run is going to be, we're going to do a layered blend per bone, and this actually blends the between two animations or blend spaces or whatever on a specific bone. And what we want to do now is, if you go select this one and you add a member, and we want to blend it by spine 03, and spine 03 is the upper one. It's right around here basically. So if you wanna know your specific one, you go into your skeleton and you can check, and this is the spine 03. So we want to have it in the exact same way, and the spelling needs to be exact. The base pose is the pose below, and the other pose is the pose above. And for this, we are actually gonna use this as the blend pose, but the base pose will always be, let's unexpose this as pin, and it's always going to be the unarmed run that is the base pose. So the legs will always move in the same way, but the upper body will move depending on this blend space. And this is really nice, because what we can do now is, in the axe blend space for instance, here, since we're not using the animations below the legs anyway, the idle and the only animations that actually matter are, since we're not using the other animations anyway, I did this, I have this static pose, right, that I made earlier in the video. If we go into the axe here and we add this static pose to all of the nodes, because this means that we don't actually, even if this is a blend space, we don't actually need moving animations for the running and the sprinting animations, because I'm just going to delete this side animations. We don't actually need movement animations for these ones, because the movement is going to come from below the spine anyway. And that should make it look a lot better. Because now we have this idle animation right, and when we run, we're still gonna have this idle animation. So yeah. Actually, we should probably, in this idle, we should probably get the other hand up as well. And it's a lot easier now because since these are static animations, it's so much easier to actually modify them because no other bones are moving around and creating ruckus everywhere. And we are getting closer to something that actually looks nice, right? So, one more time. 46 minutes, getting there. And if we go in here, let's delete this one, and let's actually use the pose for the idle as well. Dun 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 dun. There we go. We are still the reason the axis it's when we add the leaning. That's when the axis is actually going down because of the, why isn't it doing it that way? It's only doing it that way. It's weird. Is it because of this? Do I have an animation left here somewhere? What's that? There we go. There we go. So, as you can see, we're still leaning, but we have our axe on our shoulder. And I think it's turned out quite alright. As you can see, you can still modify it a little bit. Still looking a little bit weird. And obviously you can spend as much time as you want finicking about with this. You should actually do something like this. We're gonna go in a little bit deeper, something like that, and we're getting closer. And you just have to yeah, there's a lot of detailed work here, and you should also go to the fingers probably and make sure that the fingers are also wrapping around the handle. More, yeah, as you can see, you have all the finger bones as well, so you can just do them one by one. I'm gonna keyframe everything and let's just see how that looks before we quit. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend any more time doing that. We're already at 50 minutes, but you can see now it actually looks all right. And you can see that my feet are going into the bottom of the, but that's just because of the other character that I had a different height. So I'm just gonna fix that real quick. You can see, since the character is below the capsule, that's why. So let's just increase his height a little bit. I should have never bothered with the other character because it looks horrible in comparison to this one. This one looks really nice. And it's easier for us to work with animations. So there we go. Look, it looks quite nice. And we have our attacks. So yeah, perfect. 49 minutes, super long. I thought this would be like 20 minutes. If you've made it this far, leave a like and comment something nice. or whatever. So yeah, thanks for the time, guys. Let me know if there's any questions in the comments. Bye.